I am Coby Van Reenen.
And I'm Pim Van Reenen.
He's my better half. Anyway, we had the privilege of having our spring story take place in Guatemala in April of this year. Last November, actually, Jody Primer, who is a longtime friend of the family, she approached us and she asked if we would consider being part of the medical team, and really took us by surprise. Like, we had no idea that any of this was coming. So we said to her, well, we'll certainly have to pray about that. It's not something that we're going to do just spur of the moment and say that we're going. And it seemed after that time, so many of our devotions that we read or messages that we listened to in church, they just really pointed. I'd say to Pim, see, look, we have to go. I think I was more convinced sooner than he was. But I'm thick. But while we were away in Myrtle Beach, the Lord really just, let us know that, yes, that's what he wanted us to do, was to go to Guatemala and be a part of this team. The majority of our work was done with medical clinics, but in which I was a part, but Pim was a part of the building team in building homes and chicken coops. Each team member was asked to accumulate approximately 50 pounds of goods for the medical teams in the way of medication and things like that. And the first day that we were there, we really got to know all our team people, because we had to work together as a team to try and sort everything out. And there was 30 of us, and we really didn't know too much about each other, but after spending time with them, working and meals and sleeping in the same rooms with them, they became good friends. We had about 5 medical clinics in which we treated 800 people, and saw all kinds of horrible things that go on there because of the lack of medicine and medical places that they can go without it costing a whole lot of money. Like, a lot of people will give up feeding their families to buy medication. So that was a real integral part of my team participation. I was right in with the medical teams on a daily basis. We treated over 800 people, and we really got to see how the Lord was working through our teams to reach these people in their place of need. When we set up a clinic, everyone had a job that they had to do. So we really got to know each other very well. Like, we got to know some of our weak points and our strengths, and it just fell into place. Like, I could really see God working in that way. It just happened. We had 2 doctors and, 6 nurses actually, and they just all had their own little niche. And I sometimes just walked around from place to place and held babies. That kept me busy. But we all worked together really well on that part of it. And I mean, even when we were back at the mission house after our day was done, we just all, I don't know, I think we clicked.
Yeah, I think it was, when we got there with 30 people, it was kind of weird because we didn't know too many.
No.
There's only a few that we knew. So when we got to the mission house, who do you connect with? And there was a lot of folks there that already knew each other from the patrol area. Yeah. So you know that they're always going to get together and congregate.
We were the outsiders.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, God put me and the guy with in a room with 3 other guys, and we clicked. And Coby had the 2 other girls that she worked best of friends, and yeah, it's awesome. And I would just again say God's got it all worked out. Yeah, one of the things, along with building homes, we built chicken coops, and these were made at the mission place where we stayed, and it was basically wood corners and what have you, and then chicken mesh all around it. And we would deliver these chicken coops to the families, and they would be given 6 chickens. Along with the chickens, they were given a 2-year supply of feed so that they didn't have to go out and spend money, and that way they were able to be self-sufficient. And with the 6 chickens, they were able to raise eggs for themselves, and also maybe they'd have a little extra to be able to sell to neighbors. And there was one situation where a couple of years ago, a man was given a chicken coop and had eggs and sold them, and he found out, hey, this isn't bad. So he ended up getting more and more chickens. He got up to 100 chickens, and he had his own business of selling eggs to the families in the neighborhood. So it's it's a twofold blessing. They get food, and they also can maybe make a little money on the deal. And so it's a good thing for the folks.
Yeah.
There's a local pastor there, and he drives a tuk-tuk for a living, and he's the one that is in charge of looking after the folks who have these chicken coops, and he would go out and deliver the feed to these homes and supply the chickens. And but yet he drives 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, this little tuk-tuk that delivers people, and he still delivers the food and whatever to these folks. And there's a real community there, and they look after each other, and he has a real heart, God's given him a heart to help these folks.
The international nurse that travels with every team, her name is Jody. She, several years ago, went to a very remote area in Guatemala, and they held a medical clinic there, and as a result of that medical clinic and people going back again to the same area, the government realized just what a need there was and how successful these clinics were being regarding the health of the residents that live there, the people that live there. And so they built a building, and half of it is library and the other half is clinic, and a Guatemalan nurse goes to that particular area on a regular basis to treat the people. The supplies are always brought by other teams, so she has medicine there, and she looks after the people there. So it's not just us coming in and leaving but we've left this building for them so that they can just carry on their own medical in certain areas.
Yeah.
The other thing too is the sustainability is what we meet other pastors there that who are part of the way of who gets a home and where the clinics are going to be. So there's always that follow-up, and it's not just go in there and get out of there. It's go ahead, get in there and help and continue that help.
Yeah.
We had the first ever medical clinic in the local dump, and it was heartbreaking. There were people that lived in that dump. One little boy, the pastor, Edgar, when he was with us, he pointed out to me that little boy was a 5th generation dump dweller. And we were able to go in and just take care of some of their basic needs in the medical way. And we fed them a lunch as well. And actually there's one little old lady, she just pushes her bike through the dump and she collects things that she thinks are valuable. And she came up to me with her hands outstretched like this, asking for a lunch. So I gave her a lunch, and then we went back to the truck to try and deliver more. And there was one young fellow there, he says, "You just gave her 3rd lunch." And I said, "I hope she enjoys every bite." It was just wonderful. And we'd also made muffins the night before. I forgot to tell you that. There was a couple of us girls went to the kitchen at the Baptist house, at the mission house, and we made muffins. And there was 2 little girls that they got a muffin in their lunch, and they were almost eating the paper because they had never, ever, ever had anything that was homemade, or that, I guess, it was just so different for them. But it was such a blessing. But it broke my heart to see how these people were living and how much they appreciated having us there that day.
We're a team.
For me, I think it's important for us to share these things, because if I would have gone, or if Pim would have gone on his own, and then he comes back and he's excited about something that's happened, I can't really partake in that. I can't share to the same degree as he does. So I think we more or less decided right off the bat that the majority of these things that we're going to do them together, and then that way we experience them together, and we can share our experiences pretty much on the same level. This was our 3rd mission trip to a foreign country, and the same thing happened. Every time you come home, I'm sitting there in my house and I'm looking around and I see what the Lord has blessed us with, And for a long time, I felt very guilty about that. And then I was talking to a dear friend from church, and she says, Coby, God has planted you here. You live here for a reason. And the thing is, we have to share our resources, what we have, what we can, whether it's monetary or our time with people. We have to make the best, do the best we can with what we have here to help others both here and in other countries. So I found that was very difficult.
On my return, yeah, I'm not. I guess I didn't get hit as much as Coby did. I guess that's the male in me. I'm not sure what that is, but it's God's blessed us, and I just give thanks to that every day. And He's blessed us. We try to be a blessing to others, and that's how we can do that.
Yeah.
And here in our own area and across overseas, wherever we can, God keeps poking at us, and we try to respond. And
My feeling is that if you are able, like physically, I think it's a big thing. Like a lot of people, you need to be, like you hit the floor running when you get up in the morning. So, you know, I think if you can do it, both monetarily and physically, I think it's wonderful to be able to serve God in that way. I honestly do, and I think I'm doubly blessed. We're doubly blessed because we care to do it together. But I think since if you're retired and you have the time, what a better way to spend your time. I love it. I want to go back.
yeah, I feel there's no age limit to retirement when it comes to serving the Lord, and so if He's given you the opportunity, pray about it and go for it.
Yeah.
And it's in His hands. He's got control.